The North Shore Country Day School. Perry Dunlap Smith, the founder of the North Shore Country Day School, believed that a school is a community, and community life is indispensable to mental and moral growth. That belief in the value of community is the foundation of the North Shore Country Day School. It's evident in the classroom, in the teachers, in the students. And it is evident in a less defined and a more subtle way in a feeling of belonging, of being an integral part of the whole. That feeling of community comes from the dedication of the teachers, whether in a demanding academic program or in an activity outside of the classroom. Teachers at North Shore Country Day School search for ways to encourage students to realize their full potential. That feeling of belonging comes from the small classes. With a ratio of about 12 students to 1 teacher, the students are sure to receive individual attention, support, and guidance. And the feeling that one is a part of the whole comes from the school's philosophy on social goals. By developing a worldview in its program, the school exposes its students to a broad and diverse range of people and experiences. Interim Week is an important aspect of this learning process. 9th through 12th grade students at North Shore Country Day School participate in a full week of special projects. The philosophy of the program is to provide an opportunity for students and teachers to participate in a sustained and in-depth experience of solid educational value outside of the traditional classroom. Richard Hall, headmaster at North Shore Country Day School, explains the significance of Interim Week.
Often we think that education is cut into 42-minute bites, and therefore if it doesn't fit into 42-minute bites, we can't do it. Well, what Interim Week does, and what schools like ours have the flexibility to do, is to say we will take a week and suspend regular 42-minute periods and have some kind of a learning experience that fits into different kinds of scheduling modes.
Interim Week reflects the origin of the word educate, or to lead out into the world at large. The knowledge and experience gained benefit not only the individual student, but will also enrich the entire school community through the requirement that each student's experiences be shared with fellow students and teachers. Because a grant had established a Master in Residence program, the idea for creating a mural unfolded. The project, transforming much of the blank areas in the school's cafeteria into a vivid visual artwork, met all of the criteria for a successful Interim Week project. Again, Richard Hall.
A Master in Residence program is a program, it's an endowment of this school. We had a person who, an alumna of the school who is also a trustee, who wanted to make a real impact through a program in the school, and the purpose of the program is to ask an expert of some kind to come into our school and to teach the faculty, particularly working with students as well, but especially teaching the faculty some new skills. And this year, for instance, the faculty decided that the mural project would be a wonderful way to begin the Master in Residence program, because it would involve so many students, it would involve so many faculty in the way it operates. The making of a mural is a serious business, and it's not something that is done very quickly. It is done with a great deal of thought, and I think that the whole community learned that it is an exciting process which can bring people together on a common project and at the same time result in something which means something to people because they've had a real opportunity to participate in the process from beginning to end, from the conception of the mural all the way through to its completion.
The school contacted Cynthia Weiss, a professional muralist with an extensive background as an artist in residence.
As soon as I saw this cafeteria, I knew that if I came to the school, I'd want to do it here. I really loved the columns, and it was a big cavernous space that had nothing in it, and it was the space that most inspired me. I knew going into it what a big task it was. I have to say that the people who were talking to me were very nice and very supportive, and that helped me make the decision to take on the project.
Cynthia was to work closely with the North Shore Country Day School faculty, and most closely with Jackie Melissus, the middle school art teacher.
Absolutely delighted that the first artist in residence would be a professional muralist and somebody of Cynthia's quality too. I think it was very exciting and refreshing to start off with somebody in the arts.
The North Shore Country Day School is unique in a lot of ways. One of the things that is most unique about it is the teachers. The teachers were all right there with me, helping me out, supporting me, bringing me ideas, hearing something that I'd say in the morning X assembly and coming up and adding something. For example, the 7th grade teacher who came up with the idea of using her creation myths that she had written with the students somehow in the mural, and I was thrilled. It's not the kind of reception I usually get in other schools.
In the beginning, God created the earth, but at this period in time,
Freddie hops into his nice warm bed. He murmurs to himself, "If I was God,
Just before time was made, everything is
absolutely
silent.
very
There
tired.
hasn't been an action around this group of stars for millions of years.
Boy, I wish I never had
All of a
school.
sudden,
Then we
a
could
little
play tag and hide and seek and go for a dip in the creek in the woods."
The making of a mural is a complex process. Under Cynthia's guidance, the project was broken down into different phases, and each phase presented its own particular problems.
I had 6th, 7th, and 8th grade art classes that started at the beginning of the first term of school working with me 2 or 3 days a week. The first thing we did was to come in the cafeteria and do what I would do in any situation when I was going to be doing a mural project. Walk around the space, look at the columns, look up, look down, look at it from a variety of vantage points. And then when we started talking about themes, we had to think about themes that would make sense on tall vertical pillars. And I brought them scale drawings. They were 1 inch to a foot, but the same scale as the pillars in the cafeteria, and had them design on those scale drawings. So they knew they had to design something that, you know, was narrow and skinny and tall. We had a lot of different ideas, and we ended up using most of them. All the drawings were done by the students. In addition to doing their own individual drawings, they often worked in small groups, maybe of 2 or 3 other friends, or a little larger group, 3 or 4 from the art class. And after they had all the small drawings, they were involved with putting those drawings together. So first their creativity came in and they did the original drawings. Then it came into play in that they needed to pull those drawings together and make sense out of them and decide what picture would go where, which would get eliminated.
I had the idea of putting stop signs and watch for children signs on the column, and I did a whole column of signs, and we picked a few and put them on one of the columns.
I had a National Geographic picture of a bird, of a parrot, and then I had a kids magazine of a parrot mask. And I took it from the kids magazine because we're kids who are usually doing it, and they'd be more interested in that type of design.
Well, I came up with the idea to make a city on the mural, and I did the drawings for that.
I drew the tree behind me and a few birds and some leaves.
The most difficult part was organization, I think, was trying to, pretty much what I've already said, was trying to pull off a mural that in the end had over 200 students work on it, and sort of not lose control of the project with all that exuberance and with all that energy. And logistics were really the hardest part. How to make each student that was working in here feel that they had a meaningful job. Some of the jobs are not meaningful. They're really essential to doing the mural. You have to set up the paints, you have to mix the paints, you have to wash the brushes and lay down the tarps and scrape the paint off the floor, and that's just part of doing a mural. But to try to rotate it so that kids got a chance to do a variety of different jobs. There were days when we were just at the bare edge of controlling all that energy. Well, another word that happened sort of after the initial chaos was focus. You could come in here on one of those days during interim week, one day that there were 25 students working in here, and it was quiet, and they were all working, and they were really focused on what they were doing, and it was really amazing. Although my role was one that was very overwhelming at times in trying to meet the needs of all these students, their role and their participation was very focused. They were really doing their job as best as they could and took it very seriously. And the level of energy and concentration in the room was astonishing. Jackie, Melissa, and I talked about it afterwards. We were really impressed with it. One of their favorite things to do was to paint on the scaffold. And I think that some of the byproducts of the mural, not actually even painting, but just to get the chance for a sixth grader to climb up on a tall ladder, on a tall scaffold, and reach 10 feet in the air, and some of them overcome their fear of heights and push the scaffolding around and, in a sense, do a chance to do real work, and it is very real work, is really gratifying, and they were real proud of themselves.
I thought it was pretty fun because we got to decide what we wanted to do by ourselves and nobody else made the choice for us.
I enjoy just being able to paint, create the mural, and being able to say to my friends that, I did this, and just being a part of this project since it's going to be around the school for so long.
And I think it's fun working on the mural because you learn how to paint, and you have more responsibilities than just a normal art class.
I think it's neat because it's just, well, this cafeteria was all white before, and now, like, what we've thought up is now so big and everyone can see it.
Oh, wow. I learned a lot doing this mural. Technically, and again, it's one of the things I love about North Shore is that the possibility is there always for kind of growth and learning on a personal level. But there were just tremendous amounts of things I learned that I'll use as an artist and as a teacher.
The Mural project taught many valuable skills. A prime focus was on craftsmanship and design. But the project also touched upon one of the basic philosophies of the North Shore Country Day School experience: the feeling of working together as a community, as a sharing group in concert with the total project.
They all started out very much thinking about their own individual drawings. In fact, some of the students had a really hard time with the idea that their own individual drawings weren't going to get put on the wall exactly the way they had wanted to do it, and that it was going to get modified and changed by the group and rejected by the group in order to sort of, for the greater good of the whole mural. And they really understood that at the end, that the mural is larger than the sum of its parts, that it has a life of its own, and that everybody sort of feeds into it. And I think they really learned something about that, and I'm real proud of that fact.
I think that's an important thing for a lot of these kids, cooperating together, having to compromise, having to accommodate other people's wishes, even sometimes when they know in their heart of hearts their idea is a better idea, but it doesn't fit, or somehow it's not being, someone else's tree was picked. I think that's a large part of it, having to cooperate.
In the mural project, the middle school students and upper school students worked together in putting together the program and putting together the mural. A lot of the younger students were able to paint as a part of the mural project. I believe that every student in the lower school was able to put some paint on the wall, and so that it acted as a process to have our community work together on a basis of cooperation. Mixing of the ages is a very humanizing part of the philosophy of the school, and has been part of the school from its very beginnings. The older students and younger students have a wonderful effect upon one another. When I walk into the cafeteria and I see the children working together, I believe that the essence of what our school is about is right there in that operation.
You had to compromise. If you didn't, people would be fights. And it'd be like, my idea is better, no. And you get in a lot of trouble and everything.
Working in a group of people isn't new, but I'd rather work in a group than individually. First of all, I tend to do better that way.
Second, I think it's more fun.
I'm learning this because you have to work with other people in order to do this well. You can't do it all by yourself.
I learned to kind of work with other people that I don't know too well.
The mural for the school means all the children coming together from the high school, the lower school kids are doing some of it, and I'm from the middle school. Everyone is having a part in it, so it's the whole school's project. It's everyone coming together and working on it.
I worked with junior kindergarten through 5th grade in a very sort of limited way. It was a lot of fun. I love working with those ages. I love the drawings that primary grade children do, and I love the way they look at the world, and they were very excited about getting to paint something on the wall. I think they didn't quite get it at first, that these drawings and cut paper designs that they were making were going to be actually what was going to go on the wall. Some of the younger kids had a hard time making that connection. And when you see the results, because it's grouped window by different grades, to me it's really fascinating. Basically, all the students were giving the same assignment, whether it was fish or birds or jungle animals. They were working with cut paper, and they were working with designs. From that cut paper, they were given a limited number of colors to use and an 8 by 8 inch square. In effect, they were, from 1st grade through 5th grade, all given the same art problem. And the way they solved it in such different ways, to me, really shows just their development and how they view the world and how they express themselves in art. One thing that I notice as I go around, I see that the junior kindergartners who had a slightly different assignment were doing houses, but basically also with cut paper, have their houses floating all over the place. They're just dreamy, and they're crooked, and they're flying off the square, and they're really wonderful and beautifully done. But as you go from kindergarten through 1st through 2nd, and you really see it when you get to 5th grade, there they really think about something like ground, where the kindergartners don't even begin to think about the idea of the house standing on the ground. The 5th graders seem to be more interested in the ground than the animals, and they have painted mountains and grasses and hills and all kinds of things almost uniformly, all the 5th graders, without it being part of the assignment, but it being a part of the way they look at 2 dimensions and visually look at the world. They all put it in, and it's just, in addition to being really charming and delightful, it's a really fascinating developmental lesson to just go from window to window.
The mural really is a reflection of the developmental stage of the different age groups that participated. The core group of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders that make up the middle school are most aptly reflected in the mural.
They're in between being kids and being high schoolers. They're in between being able to live with the idea of doing fantasies in their artwork and wanting things to be realistic and perfectly done, and their idea of what is perfectly done. There were incredible discussions and even arguments about some of the colors used on the buildings as to whether they should be just exactly the color of the buildings, or whether it was okay to make the buildings purple and red and yellow. They did have a great sense of humor. There's a lot of things in the mural that I find really funny. One design which we in the end changed a little bit, but that some of the students had done, consisted of filling an entire pillar with signs, and some totally wacky things like the low-flying planes that's on there, and then all the planes converging on the sign. It's what I love about doing murals with kids is never in my life would I come up with the idea of putting a low-flying plane sign on a mural. So I think that something that I really appreciate was their sense of humor, which I think is throughout the entire mural.
The long and strenuous mural project was successfully completed on time. The experiences gained throughout the process will be long-lasting and will always be reflected in the work itself. The students who participated in the project have not only acquired the many different levels of knowledge, but have left their mark, a visual legacy to the North Shore Country Day School.
Well, I'll feel proud because I know that I've done a little bit of it, and it'll just be a little bit of something I've done. And 20 years from now, when I come back to the school and look at it, it'll still be there.
I don't know, it'll mean a lot when I come back to visit.
When I come back in a few years, I'll still know that I worked on it, and it'll be fun.
I remember be up high on the scaffolding and stuff.
Well, I'm going to remember it really well, you know, when I painted on it and everything, and I'm going to remember like specific parts of it and just make me feel really good and say, oh, I did that, something like that.
I think they should leave it up, you know, for at least 20 or so years to give people a chance to see what the class of, you know, 89 and around there did.
I think I'm really proud of the kids, and most proud of them because they did it. They finished it. It's quality. It's highly professional looking, and they did it. It was really them, and I think that, you know, there's nothing more exciting than seeing kids reach their full potential and do things that maybe even they didn't think they were going to do. When a kid says to me, you know, boy, it's really nice. I didn't think we could do that good. It gives you a real gratifying feeling, and I think that's what I'm most proud of them for.
I'm proud of a lot of things. I'm real proud of the way it looks. I think it's really lovely. I'm just really happy with this. I think it looks like a mural that was done by children, but it's beautifully done, and I'm very happy about that.
I think the mural has been an enormous success. I think it's been an enormous success in the spirit that's engendered. First of all, Cynthia Weiss is clearly a wonderful professional and knows exactly what she's doing. She works so well with the students. And then she's been able to work with our art faculty as well, so that we've seen a kind of a wonderful coming together of so many parts of the school around Cynthia and her work. It is also a wonderful way to have started out the Master in Residence program, because the mural is a tangible example of what happens when a great many people get together to form something in which everybody has a stake. Everybody has a stake in the product, which goes right along with what I said earlier about the aspect of a family school and of being needed and being needed to make the place be a better place.
The mural project is completed now, but much of that experience lives on in the knowledge that the students and faculty have absorbed, in the rich memories that experience has given, and in the life and color that will grace these walls and pillars for years to come.
This design, and any design that becomes a mural in the schools, if it's going to be a kids-generated design, really reflects the kids that worked on it. I would say the mural is quirky and elegant at the same time. I like the quirkiness, and I think that it reflects who the students were that were working on it, and the process of bringing so many disparate elements together in the mural, and the way kids look at the world.
I would describe it as fabulous.
Special. I think it's really special.
Great. I think the mural is difficult. Neat.
Proud. If I could just use one word about the mural, I'd probably say that it was cool.
I'd say breathtaking.
I guess it's beautiful.
Different, I guess.
Fun. Exciting. Strange. Strange describes it most.
I did it.